here's Jim Eason.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to whatever it is we're doing here every afternoon about this time. I have telephone lines leading into the station, and today is your chance to say hello to Mel Brooks. Ask him anything you want to know. And in just a minute, you'll be meeting Mel Brooks. First, I want to give you the phone numbers so you can call the program. In the city, dial 441-TALK. The prefix changes. If you're in the East Bay, it's 832-TALK. In the South Bay, 269. In the North Bay, 454. In Contra Costa, 938. And in San Mateo, 342-TALK. In New Jersey...
In Tiburon. What is it in Tiburon?
In Tiburon, they use the North Bay line. That's Mel Brooks, and we'll be talking with him right after this.
And all we do is everything you need for taking good pictures. Who are we?
Photomat?
That's easy.
Who gives you a choice of either glossy or studio finish when others won't?
Photomat.
And series...
Right now, when you bring in any roll of color print film for developing, Photomat will give you a replacement roll free. That's right, a roll of good, fresh Photomat color print film free for each roll you bring in for developing. Free film from the Photomat store, participating stores.
And go. Why go anywhere else?
Visit any one of the many Bay Area Amco dealers. Check your yellow pages for the one nearest you. Go ahead, that's all right. I just have to do a little commercial.
What's your name?
Summer is almost here, and for lots of us, that means vacation time. Whether you're planning to visit new places or just stay home with the family, you'll want to have plenty of pictures to remember your vacation by.
I like a picture. A picture's nice. You take a picture, you look at it, you say, oh, there's Murray.
Right now, Palmer's Camera in Berkeley is having a sale on all their Kodak film in stock. Stop by and mention KGO, and you'll get any film at 20% below list price. That's right,
I'm going to mention
20% off. And if you're one of those people that would love to take pictures but doesn't have the right equipment, remember Palmer's sells almost all their cameras at cost.
When I was a boy, you used to take a picture of somebody on a pony. Now you can hardly find a pony.
For instance, right now,
Yeah.
you can get the Olympus OM10 with 50mm f1.8 lens for a low $209.95, or the Canon AE1 with 50mm 1.8 lens for just $249.95. Palmer's Camera in Berkeley has one of the largest selections of cameras and accessories in the Bay Area. Camera straps, camera bags, cases, filters, photo albums, and frames, all at low, low prices. So don't forget to bring home some memories of your next vacation. Palmer's Camera in downtown Berkeley.
Come on, Murray, let's get over to Palmer's and see what's doing there with the lenses, the 15 to 30s, with the 35 to 50 millimeter.
Welcome to KGO, Mr. Brooks.
Hi, Big Jim Eason.
Nice to have you
You
aboard.
always wear a sequin poncho.
Always.
When you do this show.
Only when I do
Very
the show.
interesting, right.
Mel Brooks movie. Let me get the movie plug in.
Yeah, sure.
have to
Oh, sure.
have to say that, or the trip was wasted, right? History of the World, Part 1, which is in the tradition of Freeburg's USA and John Huston's Bible. Everything's Part 1. There's never a Part 2.
Yes, unfortunately, there's never a part 1. There's always a part 2. I mean, I've decided that there will be no part 2 of History of the World.
You're not going to update it?
No, sir. It'll be part 6,
Oh.
but it ain't going to be part 2. I don't like that number 2.
I'm going to bring a question from
There
you.
are fish living in this man's heels.
Maybe
This
I'm
man
not.
is wearing Jewish wedgies with living goldfish in his heels and a sequin poncho. I've never seen a person on the radio dressed quite so outre as Big Jim Eason.
Outre.
Yes.
Mel Brooks, somewhere in your dark, dim past, you once mentioned someone named Uncle Joe. Was there really an Uncle Joe?
Yes. There is an Uncle Joe. I have an Uncle Joe. He's retired. He used to be a cab driver. When you saw a big yellow DeSoto cab come down the street without a driver, that was Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe was about 3 feet 8 inches tall. Even with telephone books, he could just about see above the wheel of his cab.
Sid Dithers.
And so, I mean, it was amazing that, you just see this driverless cab floating around New York, and there's little Uncle Joe.
Did he not give you advice, though, and give you words to live by? And
Yes.
things like that?
Take the money and run. That was
one of his
phrases. Woody made a movie out of my Uncle Joe's philosophy.
You, I was looking through some of the background information on Mel Brooks, and I was
Uncle
finding...
Joe would often coalesce the vapor of human existence by saying, "Get the hell out of here, leave me alone." See, these were some of the words of wisdom.
Pithy, trenchant
Yes.
phrases.
Pithy trenchant, right.
Words to-
I was in those pithy trenches in World War I. These guys with pointy helmets kept annoying us.
Incidentally, just a few minutes ago, you were next door taping some television things under false colors.
Yes.
You know, like tomorrow we'll talk with Mel Brooks, and next week we'll talk with Mel. It's all done today, of course. But you said something off the air that the audience was robbed of, and I think you ought to share it with them. It had to do with Robert Goulet.
No, that's a bad joke. We don't do, no, that'll, you don't hurt feelings. No, I can't do that. Robbed of. I mean, you're just going to get a lawsuit. Yeah.
What
You know.
the heck?
No, it's just a joke.
Oh, you're not going to tell the Robert Goulet
But there was
joke?
a wonderful joke about salt. You want to hear the salt joke?
If I can't hear the Goulet joke, I'll settle
A
for
little Jewish person walks into a grocery store, and he says, "I'd like a half a pound of." Excuse me, I'm looking on your shelves, and I see about 10,000 boxes of salt. Do you sell a lot of salt? The grocery man says, "Salt. If I sell a box a month, 2 boxes a month, I'll throw a party. Salt. I don't sell much salt." So why do you have 10,000 boxes of salt all over your shelves? He says, "I don't sell salt. But the guy that sells me salt, can he sell salt? Is he good? Woof, 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 woof."
Oh, you also, you said just a few days ago on, I think it was on Today, that the critics always love your movies.
No, I never said that. I said the cricket.
The cricket.
I said the crickets love my movies. They move their hind legs in unison, and the but the critics normally don't like my movies. They
But they're
think
always one
go
off.
too far.
One movie
Oh,
late.
yeah.
Like, now you've got the History of the World out. Now they're raving about High Anxiety.
Right, exactly.
When High Anxiety came out, they didn't like that, but they loved Silent Movie. and so
Exactly.
forth.
When they started, Renata Adler was the film critic for the New York Times, and my first film at that time in 1968 was The Producer, starring Zero Mostel, Oliver Schulman. He is gone. He was the best, fat, beautiful, majestically talented comic that ever was. And there was Gene Wilder. I found Gene Wilder. He was on Broadway, and he was doing Mother Courage. Jack Brooks is in the studio. Jack used to do Broadway musicals. He knows everybody.
He just came in to take notes.
Right. And so I found Gene Wilder, and we did this crazy musical about neo-Nazism called Springtime for Hitler in the middle of a picture called The Producers. Well, Renata Adler thought it was horrible. She thought it was in bad taste. She saw too far out and not very good. And what happened was that is still running. The Producers is still running, and Renata Adler is nowhere. She is not running anywhere. You can't find her in Cincinnati. Nowhere can you find that woman. So I'm saying it's dangerous to criticize a Mel Brooks picture because you'll be not and it'll be. Yes, yes.
That's why Jack loves all your films. He wants to keep working.
Right. Well, time is the only true test. If a picture survives a certain amount of time, then becomes a legend or a classic. And if it doesn't, it goes, the way of all celluloid. I am the only filmmaker that I know in America, the only true filmmaker.
What?
I mean, I actually make the film. In my cellar, I have fats of celluloid, and I have sprocket punches.
Punch the little
As soon as
holes.
the celluloid is dry, boom, bing, bang, I make those sprocket holes. I make the film. I get 18 cents a foot.
You also work in the projection rooms
Yes.
at the Metro.
Right. The Metro is where History of the World Part 1 is playing, and I will be there. I'm going to hang out there tonight.
You'll be there tonight?
Yeah, well, I'm going to drift in and
Oh.
out. I like to watch the smiling faces of the audience, and occasionally I like to watch the weirdos who take paper clips and shoot them at the screen. I don't know what that gets me crazy. Yeah, yeah.
Did you make, or are you going to make, or have you thought about making a movie called Marriage is a Dirty Rotten Fraud?
I have written a screenplay called Marriage is a Dirty Rotten Fraud, and one day, if America allows me, I will make this movie
That's
about
not your next
marriage.
project, though.
No. My next project is High Murray. The story of a Jew that fell off an ice cream truck in Philadelphia while selling bungalow bars.
There are some, who was Kate Brookman?
Katie Brookman she is extant.
It's a name from the past.
Yes,
though.
she's my mother.
Ah.
She is very short. She can literally walk under a coffee table wearing a high hat. My Uncle Joe is her brother, and that entire family, there are 5 of them, could be shoved into one person to make a normal 6-foot person. I mean, they're all about 312. You know what I mean?
I'm just
312. That's 4 feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm just casting about through some of Mel Brooks' past to find out if there's any lode that needs mining here, and I think the artillery.
Yeah.
You were in the artillery.
I was.
On our side.
How
right?
do you know that?
I know everything.
I was the only one who wore I wore a German belt because I loved the buckle. World War I belt. Really, during the war, it said Gott mit uns, and which means God's with us. And it scared the heck out of a lot of soldiers who thought maybe God was with them. They weren't sure who he was with during that big war. Anyway, I was with the artillery, but I had to leave. Noisy. Noisy. Very noisy.
I can imagine you in the service.
155 millimeter cannon is worse than a firecracker. I mean, there's nowhere to hide. I mean, you really make a lot of noise. I used to take cigarettes and shove them in my ears. That's the only way I got through the war, because of the noise of the German mortar fire and the 155 American artillery fire. It was a noisy war, I must tell you.
I've got some people on the telephone that want to say hello to you. Have you done this before? Hello to folks on the telephone?
What do you mean, weirdos who like
Yes.
to know what you're
Strange
wearing?
people.
Okay.
Yes. Hello, this is Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
Yeah, just wanted to call and say that I've been a Mel Brooks fan now for ever since Silent Movie and Young Frankenstein. I was too young to go see Blazing Saddles.
Well, you're a tasteless young man, but thank you anyway. What's your name?
Dave.
That's Dave.
Dave.
Yeah.
Dave. Okay, talk up, Dave, because when I'm talking, somehow you fade away.
Oh. I wanted to ask two questions. First of all, when you read a review of your movie in the newspaper and it's like really bad, they're just calling your film body odor and everything. Do you? What do you do?
I save those reviews. I save them. They're invaluable, because when you run out of paper, there you got them wonderful reviews. I mean, you know, as a matter of fact, Dave, to be quite honest, I do like when I respect a critic and he quarrels with the movie and I can gain something from it. I thank him for it. But if it's just pure invective and vitriol, then he's not servicing me or the public. He's just using my movie to make himself self-righteous, and he's a waste of time, and he will be blown away.
Thank you for that call, Dave. Incidentally, it sounds as if everybody is panning your new movie. I've seen rave reviews of this movie. The only thing I've seen is they say something like this: Mel Brooks' new movie is the funniest movie ever made. It is great. It is falling down screaming funny in the worst taste imaginable. He insults everybody. Yes. But they love it.
The people that are the most upset about this, because of the Spanish Inquisition, are people of Jewish persuasion. Now, I don't know who persuaded them to be Jews. I didn't tell them to go out there and wear those big six-pointed stars. But since we all are Jews, I will say this to them, that there is a method to my madness. When I did Springtime for Hitler and the producers, there was a point to it. I was trying to prick the balloon of neo-Nazism, which was then on the inflated rise. Now, this is a knock at anti-Semitism, which is always with us. And so and Blazing Saddles is against black racial prejudice. So, I mean, there's a point. There is a method to my madness. Please be kind. Take your time. Don't go off. And besides, isn't it nice to see a bevy of nuns swimming in precision time? I mean, that's to me, it's thrilling.
That's showbiz.
Esther Williams, you're not going to beat that.
Now, the other night, I saw Blazing Saddles on television. In fact, I stole a tape of it.
I love it. I love it.
Copied it right off TV.
I love it.
And I was thinking, I'm going to be talking to this man next week. Now, there's one question I've got to ask him.
Does it have to do with Wind Across the Prairie?
No,
Okay.
the famous campfire scene. Yeah. In fact, you did break new ground there, so to speak.
Yes.
First time in movies. I think it has been done since. They're stealing from you now.
Yes, I know. Every dirty, vulgar thing I do is quickly stolen away from me.
But in the first 60 seconds of Blazing Saddles, when that movie first opens, within the first 60 seconds, somebody on the screen says, "Nigger, chink, and faggot."
Yes.
In the first 60 seconds. Now, you know my Aunt Alma is going to be upset.
Yeah, well, look, we put a big R on that picture to say, Alma, this is restricted to people of a more, ubiquitous and universal and Catholic sense of humor, I mean, Catholic in the broad, open sense. I am married to one of them.
Not as opposed to...
They're very strict. Very strict. When I was 2,000 years ago, I was manufacturing the Jewish Star. 6 men, each with a point, would run together in the center of the factory, thereby fusing and making the stars.
One star, yeah.
If I would have known that Christianity would be such a big hit, I could have fired 4 guys, 2 guys run together, boom, you got a cross, you're in business. I was a fool to stay with the old religion. Well,
let's see who's on the phone. Hello there, Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
Hi, Jim. How you doing? In Melbourne, what a pleasure heaven it is to say hi.
Oh, thank you.
Just, by the way, you did say one of the heavy 7 in that balloon talk, which you can't say on television. Okay?
What?
Oh, I don't know. You'll have to listen closely. I'm very, very careful about skirting language on the radio.
So fast that nobody picked it up except me and George Carlin. Anyway, it was a balloon talk joke.
Yes.
Anyway, are you still close with Carl Reiner and Sid Caesar and all that?
Yes.
Are you really? Do you see them at all? Or are they still active?
Sid Caesar is a very important caveman in History of the World Part 1. And Carl Reiner and I still do records. We don't make them professionally, but we do entertain loads of people at parties because we simply love to do the 2,000-year-old man.
Oh, yeah, that's a good bit. Murray, I just was one of my favorites. Take a look, take a picture.
Don't be funnier than the Jews here.
Right.
I mean, you know.
Eat a nectarine
Right.
every day.
But thanks for calling. I mean, that was very, very nice of you.
Nice to hear from you. Speaking of the old Show of Shows cast, when you see Howie Morris, does he give you wide berth? Does he stay away from you?
Yeah, poor Howie. I mean, do you know about the stories of me and Howie?
Yeah.
When I first met Howie Morris, who was an actor, one of the original actors on the Show of Shows, there was Sid Caesar, Carl Reiner, Imogen Coca, and Howie Morris. And Sid introduced me, it was my first day on the job as a writer, as a Frenchman from French television learning about American television. So I immediately, like I do, ad-libbed, and I became a Frenchman. So I said, I got a little crazy. I said, Monsieur Morris, Mr. Caesar, he say to me, for your nose, to be part of your life for the next 3 days. Mr. Caesar wishes me to live in your house with you and your wife and eat your beans and drink your milk or whatever your Americans do for the food and to sleep in your bed. So if I could, and Howie took me home.
He bought it.
He bought it. And for 3 days and 3 nights, I lived with Howie Morris and his wife until they were ready to throw me out through the window. I mean, I was, and finally on the 4th day, I said something like, so how you doing, Howie? And he collapsed, you know.
But is it not true that you...
Yes, I held him up. Howie and I were walking down McDougal Alley in Greenwich Village in New York City, and it looked like a perfect place for a holdup. So I smacked him in the face, and I took his watch and his ring, and I took all his money, and I ran away. And they called Sid Caesar, and he said, you know, Mel has gone berserk. And Sid said, don't ever ask for these. He will give you these things back, but never ask for them. Don't make him crazier. Don't. And it's true. About 10 days later, I said, oh, Howie, this must be your stuff. Every once in a while, I go a little bananas, and please forgive me. 2 years later, we're rowing in Central Park. I hit him with the oar. He gave me all his stuff, his wedding ring, and that was it. He got out of the boat and walked ashore, you know.
So now when he sees you, he kind of gives you a little distance, right?
He never knows when I'm going to rob him again. I mean, you know.
Let me pause again for a second, do a little commercial business. When we fall back and regroup, Mel Brooks is here. If you want to say hello, get on the phone. He is the auteur of The History of the World, Part 1. And we'll talk more with Mel Brooks.
Author? There's no author in that. Oh, auteur. I'm sorry.
I didn't say author.
You said author.
We'll continue right after this.
Right.
Line flights now departing from Mexico City, Acapulco, Honolulu, and Guadalajara from Concourse B.
You can go anywhere in Western's world just by saving up Western Airline travel passes.
For that temporary problem in your accounting department, call the best. Call Account Temps at 788-7030.
Oh, yes. Well, now, clean it up, guys, because we're back. Mel Brooks is in town.
It's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king. Yes, it is. It's always good to be the king. Mel Brooks' new movie is The History of the World, Part 1. It's showing in town at the Metro Theater. Why are you in town now? Is the movie doing badly, or are you just hyping it
splendidly? The movie is doing better than anybody's
That's what I thought.
expectations. And we had great expectations. Charles Dickens gave me that line. I've got to tell you, when a movie company launches a movie, they're very computerized now. They'll spend a couple of $1 million, but they'll do 2 weeks before the movie opens and 2 weeks after, and that's it.
Next movie.
They kind of next movie, right? Now, I'm not as crazy as Blake Edwards, who's done a remarkable thing. Did you hear about that? He's hired 2 Lear jets, and Norman was very nice to give him those jets. He's hired 2 Lear jets, crowded all the people, Julie Andrews, into those jets, and he's flying them all around the country because Paramount is obviously not supporting the picture in the manner, you know, it should be supported, and Paramount is not doing the job.
He laid out about $110,000 for a party in L.A., I heard, a few weeks ago.
Well, he's absolutely right to do it. He's absolutely right. A movie in this, I don't blame him. Look, he's up against History of the World, Superman 2, The Muppet, Kate, James Bond's new picture, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. And everybody wants a little slice of that movie pie, and I don't blame him for. And what I'm doing is keeping our profile hot and heavy and alive, and I don't want to slip either. So I'm out there telling people
Well,
if they don't see History of the World Part 1, they're crazy.
I'm delighted you're here because it gives me a chance to ask you some questions. First, we have to pause for a little news, and then we'll get right back with Mel Brooks.
I bet it's about the med fly.
Also
that
known.
low-flying little med fruity, that little fruit fly that is making such trouble in our orchard that it's ridiculous.
We're going to check with our newsroom now. And,
Cover your cars! Cover your cars!
Mike LaPetomane.
Do not covet thy neighbor's car.
Oh, this is an update from the KGO radio newsroom, and wouldn't you know it, southern states have decided to impose a quarantine on California produce and plan to put up highway blockades against all produce that isn't certified as coming from areas free of the medfly.
And is doing this commercial. I am doing a remarkable impression of Harpo Marx. Unfortunately, he never spoke, so you can't hear him. But I am doing it right
Gold
now.
bracelets, neck chains, charms, rings, and pierced earrings are also 40% off. They're just $38.99 to $152.99. Today's the day to save 40% on 14-karat gold and diamond jewelry at Mervyn's Vallejo store, 701 Sereno Drive.
See you later, Merv.
Tomorrow, the gold and diamond sale moves to Mervyn's Fairfield store, so hurry. Bring your Mervyn's card, your Visa, or MasterCharge today to Mervyn's Vallejo store. Remember, save 40% on 14-karat gold and diamond jewelry for men and women today only from noon to 8 p.m. at Mervyn's Vallejo store.
Come on, Murray. Let's get to Buick and go to Fairfield. We're going to see Big Merv.
What is it that's funny about the word Buick?
Cuh.
Is it the
Cuh.
cuh?
The cuh.
All
Chicken
cuh.
is funny because they got cuh. Duck is funny because they got cuh. Capon isn't funny. It ends in a nun, and Capon's not funny.
Hello there, Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
My name is Christina.
Hello.
Yes.
My name is Christina.
Christina.
I'm 9. I like to say that I like the Muppet movie a lot when you told Miss Piggy that Kermit wouldn't know her from Armor Bacon.
Oh, yes. You were
Do
very
you know-
mean in the Muppet movie.
Yes, I was. A lot of little children don't realize that I was acting in that movie. I really love Miss Piggy, and I really love Kermit. I was in the first Muppet movie,
Yes,
by the way,
I
for
saw
those
that.
folks. I'm not in the second Muppet movie because I counted the money they gave me for the first one. No, really, because we couldn't work that out. But I enjoyed. I want you to know, Christina, that I love Kermit and I love Miss Piggy, and I was just playing a bad guy, but I'm really not a very bad person.
I don't think she's buying it now.
What happened to Christina?
Thank you, Christina. Let's see who's calling from the South Bay. Hello, Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
Oh, Mel, are you having any? Did you get any static from the moral majority about the about Blazing Saddles?
I get static from the moral majority about driving a Studebaker. I mean, I can't do anything right. Listen, I got a lot of static from the B'nai B'rith, too. I mean, to tell you the truth, I am not going to let any group or any political party turn me into a timid filmmaker. I am crazy, anarchic, outrageous, wacky person, and I intend to be that. And as long as my contract really is with people. I'm a rum runner. I got this rum, and I've got all these pickets out there, Coast Guards and the moral majority and the critics, and they won't let me, But I am making this wonderful rum, and I will get it to the people, and they seem to love it. And look, time is on my side.
Oh, give us more. We love your rum. Of course, certainly. Do you have trouble,
Someone's
though?
taking my picture. You can't see that on the radio, but it's wonderful.
You want to
have your
pose a
picture
little
taken
this
out.
one?
You ever have to take a
Give her a big
picture?
smile.
Picture on radio. Here we go. Click. There, yeah. You heard that click.
Do you ever have any trouble with the authorities in Hollywood, like the hotshot Hollywood people say, "I'll give you money for your movie, Brooks, if you'll just leave out the campfire scene"?
Yeah, they are foolish. They do that. Warner Brothers wanted me to leave out the campfire scene.
They did.
They did that. Now they are incredibly happy because it's in its 5th run all over these United States because of dirty insanities like that.
Do you ever go to movies when you get a chance? I mean, other
I
than
love
your
movies. I love movies. I go to movies.
Let
all
me
the
ask
time.
you about another movie that if I hadn't known better, I would
If you
have sworn.
feel something in the dark, that's me. Yeah.
So to speak.
Yes, so to speak.
There was a movie that came out last summer, I believe, that I would have sworn was one of yours, Airplane.
Well, I mean, in a way, it's kind of a tribute to the kind of comedy, humor, the satire we did on the Show of Shows and some of my early movies. And I really loved that movie. I laughed myself when they knocked the stuffings out of them Harry Krishnas at the airport. I mean, and those punches were louder and bigger than life. They put me away. I left my seat. I went right down.
A kid comes up and says, "Give something to Jerry's kids."
Yes, that was beautiful.
Hello there, Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
Hi, Jim. I spent about 2 years since I talked to you. I'm the lady that called in about when you had the guy on about fairies, the real ones.
About fairies. Oh, yes, the real fairies.
And my name's Bartholomew. And the reason I'm calling is because we have a 14-year-old son who we took to see his new movie. And I, as a Christian, would really like to recommend to a lot of people because I think sometimes we have a tendency to be too serious. And whether or not we want to acknowledge it or not, I think Mel Brooks teaches us a lot about bigotry and about staying in our own little corner and forgetting about the other guy.
Gee, this is one of the nicest phone calls I've ever gotten. You are a wonderful person.
And I told my husband that at 2 o'clock this morning when he was laughing in bed. He laughs in his sleep a lot.
Oh.
Why does he laugh in bed?
Don't ask. I knew you were going to ask.
I went to see your movie the other day, and ever since then, about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't know if he's dreaming about something from the movie or something, but I wake up and the bed's shaking, and he's laying there laughing.
Oh.
And that's what you do to him.
Oh, well, I mean, then you should really thank me if he's shaking that bed. But I love this call, and I thank you. I really thank you for your kind words and for your observations. And I mean, it's the kind of thing that makes me very happy. I appreciate it.
Tribute from a Christian.
Yes.
That ain't bad.
Well, my wife is one of them Christians, and she likes me too.
I want to ask you about your wife, by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody does a take when they find out that Anne Bancroft, serious, dramatic actress, beautiful lady, very talented lady, is married to this wacko. Is the marriage stable?
Yeah.
I mean, everything's all right.
What do you mean stable? We don't meet in the stable. We're regular people in an apartment.
You
apartment 4B, Regal Park, New York.
You even put her in one of your movies.
Yes.
And her career survived.
Yes, I paid her about 11 cents. That's why she did the movie. No, as a matter of fact, we get along famously. We love each other, and we're ever since the first moment that I met her, she's my best friend. We talk to each other, and she's gotten me over some rough hurdles in this business, and I owe a lot of my success and about $11,000 to her. I borrowed some money from her purse once in Vegas.
I want to ask you a serious question about you and Anne Bancroft, because when the show of shows finally ended, there was a period of time when there wasn't too much Mel Brooks. You're probably working full time, but nobody really heard about you. And then suddenly,
it was lean days. Yeah.
Get Smart came along and things like this, and all of a sudden you were back. And now, 20 years ago, if somebody had called and said, "You want to talk to Mel Brooks tomorrow?" I'd say, "Oh, sure, yeah, he's a writer in the TV thing."
Yeah.
Now, and they call, you bet your boots, get him in here. Of course, you're big stuff now. There was a period though when you weren't so big.
No,
right?
no, it was a very fallow work period for me, and Annie kept me going. Really, I mean, both emotionally and spiritually. I mean, and financially. I mean, she literally took me out to dinner. When the shows folded, I was really down and out, and Carl Reiner and I made the record. That was my comeback as far as paying rent, anyway. And then Get Smart helped. But there was that period there where I was really feeling bad. I mean, I really needed a lot of psychiatric help because, failure is very tough to take. And I was thinking of psychotherapy, and then I met Anne Bancroft, and I mean, she literally saved me. I mean, she told me I was good.
I think she's a marvelous lady.
Someone has to give you. You need someone by your side, filling you with self-esteem, and then she was the person who did it.
She also has funny eyes.
She did. She crossed her eyes, and she made Marty Feldman crazy. I mean, Marty Feldman is the only man in the world who can look out the sides of his ears. And then you can hide from Marty Feldman, by the way. If you stick your nose against his nose, he can't see you because he looks out the sides of his face. You can
Mel Brooks,
hide.
The History of the World, Part 1. Hello there, Jim Eason, KGO.
Mr. Eason, I'd like to ask a few questions about Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks, please.
Okay.
Nothing personal, please.
First, I'd like to say you're my favorite comedic filmmaker, and as a matter of fact, I just got off watching Blazing Saddles. We copied the tape off.
Don't say that on the air. You're not supposed to do it, but that's okay. We didn't hear it. Yeah.
I just watched it, and I like to say I love the Jewish Indian. And in the History of the World Part 1, you have the Count de Monet, and everybody calls him the Count de Money.
Right.
The same thing in Blazing Saddles with Hedley Lamar and Hedy Lamar.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to repeat the bad jokes.
I thought they were.
That's Hedley.
I'd like to ask her, are Gene Wilder and Marty Feldman going to be in any more of your movies?
As a matter of fact, to tell you the truth, I spoke to Gene yesterday, and we are talking about maybe a classic again, maybe a Jekyll and Hyde, where we could get Marty Feldman and maybe Peter Boyle and that crew back together and have some more fun, you know, with a good old classic.
Yeah, 'cause that's what my next question was going to be. If you're going to spoof any more film classics, like when you used to spoof Hitchcock and the westerns, you know, and the horror movies, those used to be great, you know.
But now, who decides whether you get it or Woody Allen gets it?
Oh, well, I mean, we just draw. There's a big fish bowl. He usually picks paper. I love a fish. I pick a fish out and eat it. I love fish. Well, you know, movie genres are always there, and I think Airplane was a wonderful testament to the fact that you can have fun with frames of reference like that, like with nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah, and sorry, I want to ask one more.
Okay,
Sure.
go ahead.
Before I read an interview with you in Oakland Tribune, and they said you were going to make a war spoof, but you shelved it for History of the World. Are you going to make that anyway, or?
Well, yeah, I am. Like Patton and a few other. I love war.
Patton.
Yeah.
A Mel Brooks Patton.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, war is a phenomenon that should be treated with comedy. It's too serious to be treated any other way. So I think a war movie would be a lot of fun. And I think if I were a World War II flying tiger with a crushed hat and a crushed nose, I think that would be good. And thank you for calling, and thank you for asking sensible and questions that evoked terrific answers from your obedient Jew.
I thought so.
Yes.
I want to also give you credit for something you don't always get credit for. And that, well, of course, everybody knows now that you were involved in the Elephant Man, which is...
Well, very few people know that, really, Jim.
I know, because you kept it a secret.
Yes, I kept a very low profile.
But
I am the company, it's Brooks Films. I made the Elephant Man. But I would never let the critics or anybody know that because they would prejudge the picture.
you know what we thought when the word got out. Mel Brooks doing the Elephant Man, can you see what's coming? And it was a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Very well done. But I wanted to
We
pay
won
tribute to
the
When
British,
Things Were Rotten.
Academy Award. Oh, did you see When Things Were
I
Rotten?
loved When Things Were Rotten.
Yeah, with
And
Dick
I wish
Gautier
somebody
and-
would run it again.
Yeah, I've got some tapes of that. When Things Were Rotten.
Can we
And
show
I play
'em
it.
now?
I play it from time to time, and woof, that's funny. That is funny stuff. I've seen this. I saw a scene yesterday where he said, where the sheriff of Nottingham points to a peasant, a serf, and he says, "Put that man in his place." And four guys come with hammers and pound him into the earth. It was hysterically silly and funny.
I have to pause again for a moment and
Sure,
show
Jim.
something. While we're letting you hear this commercial, we're going to prepare a little film clip. Now, we don't order to do this on radio, but I've got a clip from Silent Movie I want to show right after this.
May I take a moment to tell you exactly how you can be driving a new BMW for only $199 a month?
Oh, Mel Brooks is here, and we're talking about... Incidentally, I don't know that this is true, but I heard that everybody who goes to see the History of the World Part 1 this week can get in free. I just thought I'd start a rumor.
I don't know if that's true, Jim. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind filling the theaters, but I mean,
But come
you
on.
can't. But yes, right. You can't do that. I mean, you're going to get people crazy.
No, this is... everybody should go see it this week because it may close next week, right?
No, as a matter of
We're
fact,
trying to fill the theater somehow.
As a matter of fact, I will be skulking around the theaters.
Oh?
Yes, tonight and tomorrow night, and they can see me in person if they have a flashlight.
I just had a funny thought. Everybody's lined up, or as they say in England, queued up to see the movie tonight, and suddenly somebody spots you, and they all come running over and rip off your clothes and screaming and yelling, that Mel Brooks, oh my God, Mel Brooks. And it could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. I when I go to premieres, I always wear paper clothes. Because
just in case.
I mean, they're always ripping off my clothes, and I don't want them to tear up shark skin or something you pay over $16 or $17 for. So I go in paper clothes. I have a paper tuxedo, and they rip it off, and I always have a beautiful Fruit of the Loom shorts underneath, so I'm never really naked.
Would you like to borrow my cape?
Do you have a cape?
Hello, Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
Hi, Mel.
Yes.
And Jim, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is it true, since all the good questions have been asked, that you are not addicted but love Raisinets and Fred Astaire music?
I was going to buy you some Raisinets today and forgot it.
That's a very good question. Yeah, I eat a lot of Raisinets, because they have a lot of iron in them. The only problem is that your lower intestine rusts after a while from all that ingesting iron. However, the Fred Astaire thing is very dangerous, that Fred Astaire question, because I have expensive furniture, and sometimes when I play Putting on the Ritz and I dance in black and white wingtip shoes, I do destroy a lot of good furniture. He kicked a lot of furniture.
Oh.
Yes. But that was a good question, darling.
And thank you very much for calling. Let's try San Francisco. Hello, Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
Hi, the questions I was going to ask have been spoken for, but I did want to take this opportunity to thank Mel Brooks for what he is. If you really insult just about everybody in your new picture, I can't wait to see it. And
Go this week.
okay, and I would like to. I adored, and I love the Blazing Saddles and the Producers. They're two of my very favorite pictures. I can't get over the fact that when you made Blazing Saddles, you were so far ahead of what was being shown. You were so innovative, creative. It was so fresh and funny.
Yeah, well, I thank you, darling, for that wonderful remark. However, the same thing is happening now. With History of the World Part 1, I am accused of going too far once again. And in a couple of years, I'm either going to say, well, how did he know? How did he know it was good to be the king, you know, and things of that nature. So I really appreciate your understanding.
I want to see a review someday that says Mel Brooks' new movie doesn't go far enough.
Yes, I'd love to see that.
Incidentally, people can see your movie several times because there are always things you catch.
Yes, they can see it in the first row, then they can go to the back row. They can see it from the other side of the screen where people are reversed and sound blithered because of the sound. They can, yes, it's in Swedish on the other side. If you walk behind the screen, Mörner to burn curl sturm. That's what you hear.
But do people catch things like the little inside references? I was thinking about Blazing Saddles again. You had Lily von Stupp.
Yes.
And Governor Lepetomaine.
Yes.
And that may slip by a lot of folks, but once in a while you go, wait a minute, did he say what I think he said?
But a lot of people don't know that Governor Lepetomaine was the man who broke wind for a living on the French stage. Right. He could play the Marseillaise from a different orifice, not his mouth. I mean,
that's a true story. That was a real person.
Oh, absolutely. Governor. Yeah, his name was Lepetomaine.
Lepetomaine.
Lepetomaine means small bomb. Lepetomaine is French for bomb.
How appropriate.
Petard, Pétamine.
Hello, Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
Yeah, and Bancroft. That's not true. She's 1/6 wacko.
Oh, 1/6. Yes.
I can't remember the show it was, but when she did the thing where she's on the psychiatrist's couch recounting meeting the guests at the door and introducing them. Eva, Ava.
That's
Una. That was one of the funniest bits I have ever seen.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. Ann and I are doing a movie, and it's going to be written by the fella Tom Meehan, Meehan, who wrote Annie on Broadway, the big hit musical. But he wrote that sketch for Annie in the first TV special that she did, Abba, Uba, Ima, Iba. He wrote that crazy, with all the craziest first names in the world, and I'm so glad you said that.
I tell you, that was one, I have never forgotten that. Jim, I don't know if you ever saw that or not.
I didn't remember it until just now.
Yeah.
When you had said before, when I've been on the phone here listening in the background, when you were talking about her being a serious actress and all, and I said, oh, he must have never seen that thing. I'll tell you, if you ever get to see it, it will fracture you.
Well, the dance she did in Silent Movie.
Yes.
Was
when I dipped her and banged her head on the table.
Crashed her head on the way out, yes.
Yes, but I do have a serious question.
Sure.
How did the 2,000-year-old man handle the fruit fly?
Oh, well, I mean, he gave up eating nectarines, the thing he loved more than a fine plum, a rotten nectarine. He gave up eating them because he didn't want med disease in his turmoil of... This is incredible, isn't it? 2,000 years ago, we had a similar thing.
Oh, a mayfly?
No. It was called Gentiles. They would come with clubs and smash you on the head.
And take your fruit.
Right, and take your fruit away. They'd steal all your fruit.
Are you still of the impression that the greatest invention in the history of the world, part 1, 2, or 3, you used to say saran wrap, then you changed it to Glad bags?
No.
No?
I changed it to liquid Prel.
That's the greatest.
Yes, because liquid Prel was put into a plastic case, and you could throw it on the floor and bounce, and it never broke, and it was thrilling. And a little bit of liquid Prel made a lot of soap in your hair and your nose.
How do you equate that with the invention of the computer, say?
The computer was good. Very good.
I was a straight man for 10 seconds there. We'll continue with Mel Brooks in just a minute.
Presenting GE National Sale Days. When you can save money on so many appliances, you may have trouble making up your mind.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Check the GE sale day prices now at Miller's Home Appliance, 966 South Bascom, San Jose.
This is Stupi for Emporium Keppel and Weinstock's Well Travel Bureaus, inviting you to London. Fly there, but return on Majestic SS Oriana British Registry, which is making her final Atlantic crossing. She is a true ocean liner, 42,000 tons, unhurried, majestic, and grand. Sail to Bermuda, Port Everglades, Bahamas, through Panama Canal, Acapulco, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. SS Oriana, London Showtime Air Sea Cruise leaves San Francisco Saturday, November 7th for 25 glorious days, and the price starts from only $2,190. Included, 4 nights in London with 2 theater shows. What a magnificent air-sea combination. Northwest Orient to London, SS Oriana to San Francisco. For brochure, write to Oriana, care of KGO 277 Golden Gate Avenue, San Francisco, or visit or call you nearest Emporium Keppel or Weinstock's Well Travel Bureaus. They are located in all Emporium Keppel and Weinstock stores. London Showtime, November 7th on SS Oriana. Visit, write, or call today.
Does that make you want to run out and buy one?
Is he doing a record? I mean, it sounds like he's the call runner of Mel Brooks again. But I mean, I like his delivery. I like that commercial.
That's our travel agent friend, Val Tupi.
And he does his own
Yes.
commercials.
Makes you want to go somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, makes you want to go. I mean, the man is very brave. I think that's wonderful.
Today, a lot of banks are giving excuses for not giving business loans.
I'm afraid we can't give you a loan unless you've been in business for 15 years.
Okay, we're talking with Mel Brooks, and let's see who's on the phone. Hello, Jim Eason, KGO.
Oh, no. By the way, you can call that place Frisco. It's all right.
Okay.
So, no, I saw the producers, and I really liked it, but Young Frankenstein was a ripoff. And so why don't you make up for it by driving your rolls down here to San Jose and give me a couple free tickets to your movie, and don't bring any fruit with you because you'll have to be sprayed because of this Metfly thing.
Okay, now listen, smarty. First of all, I drive a Honda Civic, not a Rolls. And secondly, Young Frankenstein was anything but a ripoff. Maybe you didn't understand how great it was, and maybe you felt cheated because it was in black and white, and you wanted a nice, colorful film that they make at Disney Studios.
You want Disney? Go to Disney.
You want Disney? Go to Disney. Young Frankenstein was one of the most beautiful, eloquent, funny films ever made. And I drive a Honda. So you're wrong on 2 counts. But come to see History of the World Part 1. And if you don't like it, we'll give you some of your money back.
Hello, Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
Yes, Mel, not Igor, Igor.
Yes.
What hump?
I like both your works, Jim, your work and Mel's. And I have a question for Mel. When you have an idea for a bit that's going to be in a movie, as you work on it through direction and production, do you ever question whether or not it's going to work the way you want it to work? Do you ever, lose confidence in it?
What was the one about the lobster you were saying?
Yeah. Sometimes I believe in something with all my heart, and then it's on the cutting room floor. We once did a thing in silent movie called Lobsters in New York. Now that sounds good. I mean, the camera came in, and you saw a giant lobster in a tuxedo. He had menus under his arm. And then beautiful lobsters that were dressed in gowns and tuxedos came in, and he gave them menus. And a beautiful lobster waitress sat people down. And then they all went over to this fish tank where these human beings were swimming around. Now it sounds great, but we couldn't get a laugh. So sometimes you believe in something, and unfortunately it ends up on the cutting room floor.
Let's get one more call in here. Hello, Jim Eason with Mel Brooks.
Yes, Mel, have you ever thought about doing a comedy sketch on the sophisticated life and complicated life children lead who go to the center?
Children lead what?
When they go to the Center for Early Education.
Oh, no. He's talking about, I have some children that go to a place called the Center for Early Education. It's a place for children who are very smart or very dumb. I'm not sure. But they're a wonderful school, and they do a great job. And this child is a graduate of the Center for Early Education, and I appreciate a plug for that wonderful school.
We're out of time, and I'm sorry because I'd like for you to stay another 4 hours.
I'll stick around. I don't have to be on the radio. I'll just hang around the station. It's air-conditioned. Maybe
well,
you'll give me a nectarine
without
without a med in it, I hope.
Could you give us one last piece of advice before we go?
Yes, stay out of a Ferrari or any other Italian small cars because they can turn over, they can hurt a Jewish person very badly.
The movie is The History of the World Part 1 at the Metro Theater. Go see it tonight. You may see Mel Brooks skulking around the lobby. Thank you again. We're going to take a short break here for some news and some weather, and we have the KGO marching band to introduce the weather.
The KGO Leo Cholino forecast for the Bay Area calling for sunny and warm temperatures with highs in the 70s and low 80s at the beaches, 100 degrees plus inland, moderate afternoon winds, and overnight lows in the 56 to 70 degree range.